Good morning, traders. This is a live trade recap of the pre-market. It's 4:29 right now. This took place around 4 a.m. Today's Tuesday, December 22nd. I have the trade on video here. Before we go to that, I just want to share with you, if you saw my videos yesterday, I had 6 losing trades. Every single trade that I took yesterday lost. And at the end of the day, I started to wonder what was so different about yesterday. Was it really that my trades were that bad? And the answer to that was no. There was some slightly overextended trades and some aggressive entries and things like that that put me a little bit more at risk. But the main difference that I realized was there was no volume. I mean, the most volume by 4:30 a.m. was 6,000 shares traded compared to today, which is more of a typical day. Here we are in the pre-market. It's about 4:30 right now. Look at that. 6,000 shares yesterday was the highest volume traded. Here you're up around 500,000. 6,000 shares all the way down to number 17. So that was the big difference. I've never seen it like that since I've been trading this early in the morning. That's the first time. And I've been trading this early in the morning for at least 2 or 3 months straight now. So I made a rule. If there's no volume between 4 to 4:30 a.m., take the rest of the day off trading, because yesterday was the first time I've lost every single trade in one day since I've been trading this plan. So I think that's a sign, not to be superstitious or anything, but and then I also added this just to keep my entries that much safer, because I suffered a pretty big loss. I gave almost all my gains back yesterday from this month. And so these are the only setups that I'm taking. So that's what this trade was. So the good news is I followed my my new rules and strategy, and I threw a bunch of stuff on the watch list that was trading in the aftermarket so I can keep an eye on volume. But if you look at, I was just looking at the tick by tick, and you see there's nothing being traded on any of those stocks, so I removed them. And okay, and then I restarted Webull because the screener looked weird. Anytime you go from one session to the other, say like the day before and to 4 a.m. pre-market, if you already have Webull open, it seems to have trouble refreshing. So it's best just to, after like maybe a minute after the new session, just close it and reopen it. That's what I did here, and I got a whole different list. So I'm organizing by volume. Sundial was the top. I did look at that for a while. It was looking fairly strong, but the pattern was kind of weird. Yeah, so this kind of looks like an ABCD pattern, but not a very pretty one. And then, so I did consider taking a trade on this when I was looking for when that candle broke a new high there. But I was skeptical because the volume didn't look that strong, and it was taking a long time basically the orders weren't coming in very fast. So I just kind of sat there, and then these look pretty much like dashed candles, and that's a sign of low volume, so I said forget it, I'm not trading that. And then let's see, okay, so JG popped up. I guess I saw it on my laptop on the same screener that you were seeing before. So that one popped up, and then I said, okay, I'm glad I didn't trade Sundial, because this is a much cleaner ABCD pattern. Doesn't mean, it's guaranteed to work or anything, but so my idea was to buy for the break of this candle, because this looks, here's A, here's B, and then this is the pullback to C. And then when this candle, when the 431 level pops up, right there it pops up. Unfortunately, see, I didn't notice this when I was trading it. I was watching the spread over here and noticed, okay, the spread's decently small. I see it go up to 5 cents. So I wasn't afraid of the spread. But of course, as soon as I put my order in, the spread jumps. And then I get filled pretty high. I wanted 431, and I got 438. Now I'm using my 2R calculator here that I made, because like I would say 95 out of 100 times I'll do this calculation in my head right, no problem. But the 1 or 2 times that I mess it up, it can screw up my trade. So I just said, you know what, let me just make a calculator, and then I don't have to worry about screwing up the 2R calculation, because sometimes these things happen so fast, and there's adrenaline and all that, and you can't really think clearly all the time. So I just put in my ideal entry, which was 431. I didn't get that. I got 438. The stop, which is the bottom of this candle, 410. And then when I hit enter, it gives me my 2R target, which is 473. So now I know what I have to put in for my sell 90 order, which is 473, which admittedly I felt like a little bit tense about, because I felt like, wow, that's pretty far away from the high of day. Excuse me. So here I'm just marking out my stop just for visual aid, because you can't put hard stops in the pre-market. And then you see me hovering over the order to sell, because notice it came down pretty low from my entry. So I was kind of thinking, well, probably gonna get stopped out again. This will be 7 losses in a row, but got to stick to the plan. So let's see what happens. So now it's coming back up toward my entry. Now it breaks over. Let me just show you that real quick. Breaks over my entry pretty strong. That's when I feel pretty good about it. Now I'm trying to do other stuff. I was looking for sundial, but I guess I deleted it, because now I've got this set up. So it's going to sell 8 shares when it hits that price, and it's not really anywhere near my stop. So I'm trying to not look at it and obsess about it and try to manage it or anything like that. So I go over here and see, okay, that entry that I wanted was no good. So my assessment was right, that there wasn't enough volume to make that trade a good trade. So I come back over here, and I think I kind of dilly-dally on my phone and stuff like that. Well, I guess not. I marked out some other line. I'm basically distracting myself. I marked out where I put it in the wrong place, but that was 431 was where my ideal entry was. So I put that up there to give me some perspective as to how far the price has already moved from where I wanted to get in. And then I marked out the high of day. Notice it's coming near the high of day. It breaks it, pulls back a little bit, but doesn't really flush down, so that's a good sign. Then it breaks through it, and then it pops up real hard. Now this is where I get a little weak-handed. I wanted 473. I see 470. I pull it down. I get filled at 470. It goes to 473. It goes beyond 473. I would have got filled no problem, but baby steps. I had a really tough day yesterday, and I've been having trouble all month holding to 2R, and that was pretty dang close. So I think all things considered, it was a good trade. Now here's where this is something I have to change, because this has happened a few times, and it's cost me every time I've done it. Is my next thought was, okay, I only have 1 share left on this thing. Should I just hold it and wait for this thing to curl up higher? I moved my stop to my entry, that way I'm not giving back any profits, and that's a good thing. I don't want to change that. And because I already got the 2R on 90% of the shares. But this is where I was debating, should I add another share, average in, if this thing looks like it's going to continue higher. I'll show you what happened with that. So it puts off this nice, this small 1 minute candle. And I say, okay, if it breaks that 1 minute candle, I'm going to buy 1 more share. And I do right there. You see me click the hot button. Now look how much it moves my, because I only had 1 share, so it moves my price up quite a bit, and I don't want to give back any profit. So now I want to sell if it gets to or really close to this price. And then, so basically what I decided to do is I said, you know what, the bottom of this candle is very close to my entry. If it breaks the bottom of that candle, I'm going to get out all the 2 shares. So there, I decided to get out. And then, so that's the end of that trade. Now, let's see what happened. This is like the 420 candle. Let's go over to the stock here. Remember my original, where was I at? 438 in the original position. All right, and there was that stop loss you saw. So I was in it like right around here price-wise. Right, I got in for the break of this candle, and I got filled up here. But then when I averaged in, it put me in way up here, right? So basically I missed this whole move because of that. If I would have just held on to that 1 share at 438, it would have been pretty easy for me to hold probably to here, and I probably would have stopped out on this candle, if not the second time that it hits this level. But let's say I stopped out, what's the low here, 491. So let's say I stopped out at 490. That would have been an additional, let's see, what was I at, 438? So an additional 52 cents. And 1 second, 52 cents. On top of, let's see, what is that, 32. So the total trade would have been about $3, and with the 2 sell orders, $3.04. And by averaging up $3.04, I only made $2.57. So I don't think it's worth it to average up, especially when I only have like 1 share, and then I add 1 share and it moves my price up. If I have like 5 shares and I add 1 share, it's not going to move my price up so high. So there there may be some details there I have to work out, but in general, I don't think it's a great idea. So the nice thing is it was a pretty good trade, almost 6% return. It would have been more if it wasn't for that slippage, because it went to 2R, which you saw. I pretty much held to 2R. I went like 3 cents short of it. And if I didn't get that slippage, it would have been like $3.78 instead of $2.57. So that's why there's such a big difference here, even though I was really, really close to 2R. So the good news is, basically after yesterday, I pushed myself all the way back about almost 2 weeks. So now I've got myself back a couple more days, I guess. Or really, I mean, if you consider that I went up and came back down a little bit, I'm only now I'm only a week behind. So hopefully I can continue this trend. And I did consider getting back into this thing, but I thought, you know what, yesterday was crazy, rough day. Let me just take this 1 green trade and come back at the market open. Really, the point of me allowing myself to take 2 trades per session isn't so much to try to get like 2 big green trades. It's more if I take an entry on a stock and get shaken out. So for example, if I would have entered here and say this thing came down and it stopped me out by like 1 cent and then continued higher, then I could have used that second trade to kind of get back in and see if, okay, maybe that was like a fake breakdown. So that kind of thing. All right, so at least we're getting back on the right track here. And hope you guys are doing well in the pre-market, and I'll see you near the market open. Thanks for watching. Take care.